12 months ago, I had 0 videos. And today, there's more than 1,000. No team, no editor. Just me, an iPhone, a couple cheap mics, and a computer. Filming, editing, uploading every single day. You know, I didn't have a strategy when I started. My only plan was to make videos that helps people see their world differently. And somewhere between video 1 and video 1,000, I learned everything that people try to skip. Discipline, consistency, and what it actually takes to build something that lasts. When I look back now, everything that made 1,000 videos possible came down to 3 things. The mindset to go all in before I felt ready, the structure that kept me consistent when motivation disappeared, and lastly, the standards that made showing up non-negotiable. And that's the same framework that I've coached from since the beginning. That's what this video is about. The same 3 things I've used to help other people build their lives, and how using them on myself changed everything. But let me make something clear before we go any further. This video is not a technical breakdown. I'm not gonna walk you through what camera I used, how I edited, or what apps I post from. That's all surface level stuff. This one's about what actually made all that possible. The mindset, the structure, and the standards that built the discipline behind it. Because you can know every tool, every strategy, every shortcut in the world. But if you don't have these 3 things, you're gonna quit long before you ever hit 1,000. Now here's a quick backstory on why I started. You see, this whole thing started with a conversation between my wife and me. At the time, I had a wholesale real estate business, and I was working hard, but it just wasn't working out. In hindsight, I had that company for a different reason, but I'll get to that later. So one day, I was standing in the kitchen, and my wife looks at me and says, "Why don't you just do what you love to do? Start a website. You know, do your coaching thing. Give it a year and see what happens." Deep down, I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people. She knew it, I knew it. And then she said, "You should start a YouTube channel too." And so I did, with no plan. Just the conviction that if I start, I'll figure it out along the way. And that's exactly what happened. I uploaded my first 5 videos in December 2024. By January, I was all in. And that's how it all started. A decision to put myself out there and a commitment to figure out the rest as I went. And so that's what I did in the beginning. Film, edit, upload every day or every couple days. No debating, no waiting, no perfecting. Just repeat the process and make each one a little better than the last. And that rhythm, that daily repetition, is what turned my uncertainty into ultimate progress. I just started. And those first 11 videos, they looked like they were made by somebody that just made their first 11 videos. Half the time, I was learning in real time, filming, editing, re-editing, re-uploading, but I didn't care. I knew if I just kept doing it, I'd get better. And that was the deal I made with myself. Just learn as you go. Man, I even scheduled 300 shorts early on. No overlays, no music. Instead of pulling them all down, I went back through one by one, fixed what I could, added music, and then just kept it moving. I told myself, it might suck right now, but it won't always suck. Just keep going. And that mindset really helped me push through that early stage where it's all just trial and error. Like, most people stop at, "This sucks." But if you can push through it, you build something nobody can take from you. You build proof of who you're becoming. And every day for me was just another lesson. What to fix, what to start doing, what to stop doing. And even though I didn't realize it at the time, those early videos were actually building my internal foundation, my patience, my focus, and hell, even my standards. And once I got through those first few months, I stopped overthinking every little detail. The filming, the editing, the posting, it all started to kind of feel natural. The process wasn't perfect by any means, but I had found my rhythm. And once I did, the ideas never stopped. I was always listening, reading, and paying attention. Podcasts, books, sermons, conversations, anything that made me think, I wrote it down. A lot of ideas came from just watching people, like business owners who had to control every detail of their business because they didn't feel safe delegating. That became the controlling people video. Or catching myself thinking, why would I expect someone to act in a certain way when they've never acted that way? That became the unspoken expectations video, which still only has 12 views. Someday people will find it. But every situation or thought turned into a note. My phone is full of notes, like why people chase chaos, fear disguised as logic. And most of my videos started that way. One line that I just can't stop thinking about. I'd expand it, break it down, and try to find the psychology underneath it, and then share it with the world. My goal was never to make content. It was always to help people, to reach the version of me that I used to be, the lost, angry, stuck version, the wanting more out of life version. And when you create from that place, it's not about the views, it's about the message. That mindset is what kept me going when nobody was watching. Because I knew if I just kept showing up, the message would get sharper and the people who were meant to hear it would find it. If one person changed their life from something I said, that was enough. There's so much I want to break down in simple, real language so people can finally understand why they think the way that they think, why they react the way that they react, and realize that they can build whatever life they want. It just takes clarity on where you're going. It takes a plan to get there. It takes the right mindset, the right structure, and the right standards. And with all of that, plus aggressive patience, it's inevitable. So somewhere around August 2025, I realized I was probably gonna hit 1,000 videos before the year was over. And honestly, it didn't even feel real at first because I was locked in. And when you're that locked in, you don't really think about the numbers. You just do the work. My wife was really the one who made it sink in. She said, do you realize what that means? You've made 1,000 videos. And I was kind of like, yeah, I guess you're right. But in my head, it didn't feel like an accomplishment. It just felt like proof that the system worked, that the mindset, the structure, and the standards had done their job. But the truth is, I wasn't chasing the number. I was just showing up every day, doing what I said I'd do. Showing up, posting, adjusting, and doing it again tomorrow. That's it. And looking back, I saw every reason that I could have stopped and didn't. Like 2 weeks with 1 new subscriber, videos with no sound, clips that looked like shit, stuff I filmed that wasn't usable, hundreds of shorts that had to be fixed and re-uploaded. Like every day was another reason to quit, but I didn't. And so by the time I got close to 1,000, the rhythm was already built. This wasn't some final push to a finish line. It was just the next rep. I wasn't trying to hit a target. I was just in the rhythm. But the reps added up. And when I finally zoomed out, I could see what all those quiet days had built. Every single video, over 1,000 times at this point. I did it all myself. Writing, filming, editing, adding overlays, captions, music, creating thumbnails, titles, descriptions, uploading, scheduling, adding end screens and info cards, and then making sure everything looked clean, intentional, and consistent. When you see it from that angle, it's a lot. But here's the thing, it was never a lot in the moment because it was always just one at a time, one day after the next. And that's what people don't see. The quiet, boring part, the repetition, the structure, the standards that keep the whole thing moving. The discipline came from repetition, from proving to myself every day that I'd still show up no matter what was happening and no matter how I felt. This was just proof of what happens when you stop negotiating with yourself. Because most people start things, few people finish things, and even fewer build habits that make finishing automatic. I've started and stopped a lot of things in my life. That used to be normal for me. Start strong, lose interest, move on. But this time was different. because somewhere along the way, I learned how to work through the boredom. I also made a video about it. But that's the real test that most people never pass. Boredom. Everybody can work hard when it's exciting. But when the views slow down, when nobody's commenting, or in life, when you're doing the right things but nothing's paying off yet, when it's just you and your routine, that's where your identity gets built. That's where consistency starts to rewire who you are. And I've told people recently, boredom is the doorway. If you can walk through it, you'll become the kind of person who doesn't need results to keep going. Most people just never keep going long enough to feel that shift. They quit, typically right before it happens. They never make it far enough for the work to feel automatic. But once it does, everything gets simpler. You stop wasting energy fighting yourself, and you just handle what's in front of you. You don't have to push yourself to stay consistent. You just do. And that's when everything starts to change for your life, because you finally became somebody who follows through. And if you can hold on through the silence, through that stretch where nobody's watching and nobody cares, you become the kind of person who doesn't need results to stay consistent. And that is the version who wins every time. Remember earlier when I said I had that real estate company for a different reason? Here's what I meant by that. See, that business never really took off. But now, looking back, it wasn't supposed to. It was training. Throughout the course of my life, I've always had two massive fears: the fear of rejection and the fear of not being liked. When I started my real estate company, I had to cold call people who didn't want to talk to me. I had to face rejection and not being liked all day, every day. And at first, it stressed me out. But eventually, I said, screw it. If I'm ever gonna be successful, I have got to get through this. So I started calling people scared. And the more that I did it scared, the less scared I became. Until one day I wasn't scared at all. I got numb to it, like in the best way possible. I didn't realize it at the time, but God was just preparing me. Because let me tell you something, when you start putting your face online for the world to see, you better have thick skin, because you're gonna get ignored, you're gonna get rejected, and you're definitely gonna get people that don't like you. That business was where I learned to take rejection, how to keep going when people ignore you, how to stay focused when nobody believes in you, how to stay calm when people insult you. It was shaping the version of me that could do this, that could sit in front of a camera and talk to the world. And so now, when a video gets 2 views or somebody leaves a comment that says I'm full of shit, I don't flinch, because I've already been through worse. Looking back, everything was connected. Every disappointment was preparation. Every detour is direction. And now you might not see it when you're in it, but one day you're gonna look back and you're gonna realize you weren't failing, you were getting prepared. Because that failure, it didn't take anything from me. It gave me the resilience to keep showing up here, to keep going when most people stop. And 1,000 videos later, over 1,000 at this point, I'm still just getting started. Early in this journey, I learned to stop needing results to feel progress. I just focused on doing what I said I'd do every day. And the more I did that, the more proof I built. And that proof turned into confidence, the kind that only comes from doing it every day. And when you build that on the inside, everything on the outside starts to follow. But you don't need to make 1,000 videos to get that. Your 1,000 might be 1,000 push-ups, or 1,000 sales calls, or 1,000 pages written. It's all the same game. To show up when it's boring, to do the work nobody claps for, and stacking small wins until the proof outweighs the doubt. That's what this year really taught me. Quiet, consistent work changes you more than any big moment ever will. I didn't just make videos, I built evidence. Every day, for almost a year, I was proving to myself that I was becoming the man that I said I wanted to be. And once you build that level of discipline in one area, you realize it transfers everywhere. Now that I've built it here, I can apply it to anything. You know, the goal was never really to be a content creator, quote unquote. It was to help people. It was to change lives. And honestly, to become the kind of person who follows through. Because once you become that person, life starts to move in your direction. Opportunities bend towards your consistency, and the world begins to respond to your standards. Now, before I made this, I knew this video would hit different because of the number. But the number was never the point. I never would have hit 1,000 videos in 11 months if I didn't become a different person along the way. A person who doesn't quit. A person who stays consistent when nothing is happening. A person who knows where he's going. That's all life really is. If you want to achieve anything, you start with one step. You do it messy, you do it scared, and then the next step is going to reveal itself, and you take that one too. And if you mess up, fix it fast and keep moving. You don't need perfection, you just need to keep going. Because really, this video isn't about uploading 1,000 videos. Anybody can do that. It's about what happens when you don't quit halfway through. When you build something so consistent that quitting stops even being an option. That's when you realize you can do that with anything. So whatever your version of 1,000 videos is, just start it. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait to feel ready. Just start. And if you want help building the mindset and the structure to actually follow through, go through the rebuild. It's free. And it's the foundation this entire journey was built on. The link's in the description. Because if there's one thing I've learned after 1,000 uploads, it's that everything changes the day that you stop waiting and start becoming. Nobody tells you it's supposed to suck in the beginning. Nobody tells you the number doesn't matter, the discipline does. Nobody tells you boredom is the real test. Nobody tells you it's about who you become, not what you build. I'll see you on the next one.